Hello, Mrs. Alcoby. How are you? I just want to say thank you for inviting me just to be able to collaborate on, planning and instruction for our diverse group of students here. I'd like to go ahead and just walk through kind of the framework that I'd suggest, as well as an activity to help promote higher order thinking. Um, and then just lastly, some, strategies and accommodations that can help support all of our learners, and just how we can go ahead and adapt this for different environments, through the use of technology. Um, so the framework that I used is the Universal Design for Learning. So UDL ensures that all students have access to learning from the start by providing multiple means of representation, engagement, and expression. For example, so when we look at presenting content visually, we can do that through things like text, audio, and manipulatives. This can help students to engage just in different ways. So looking at Ryan, we can do things like hands-on tasks, whereas for Shaban and Social, we can look more at like choice-based. And then for Russell, we'll look more at things like calming strategies. This is going to go ahead and allow us just to kind of find different ways to demonstrate learning. So we can look through things like oral responses, projects, or even the use of technology. So UDL is going to be best fit for our class just because we have such a wide range of needs. So we're looking at, going from Down syndrome to mild intellectual impairment, dyslexia, and emotional behavioral, challenges. Um, so by planning proactively with UDL, we can then put in supports from the beginning rather than adding them in as like an afterthought. So one activity that I would like to go ahead and recommend is the what's called categorizing and classification game. So this is where students are able to sort pictures, words, or objects. They can look at things like animals, foods, or shapes, and then they put them into groups. Then they go ahead and explain their reasoning of why they put them into those groups. Later on, they can then reorganize those same items in different ways. So then they can look at things like size, color, or use. This is good because it helps promote higher order thinking, but it's done through analysis. They're looking at things like comparison and flexible reasoning. And it's something that can be easily differentiated. So looking at Ryan, we can focus more on, say, matching and naming, whereas Shaban can look at more of like explaining her reasoning in, simple sentences. Social can go ahead and, decode words while sorting, and then Russell can kind of lead part of the categorizing, which is also going to help support his behavior plan. Um, Another option for an activity would be what's called debate with choices. So this is an activity where you ask questions like, which is better, hamburgers or hot dogs? Which is better, cats or dogs? And then students go ahead and choose the side that they want, and then they go and share their reason behind why they chose it. When it comes to the other students participating, that student is then going to go ahead and take a listen to what the other students have to share. This is great because it's fostering, evaluation, reasoning, and perspective taking. Um, Two of the strategies that I'm going to recommend, or I should say emphasize, are the first one is going to be visual supports and the use of manipulatives. So using things like picture cards or graphic organizers, any type of hands-on tool, these are going to help Ryan, such as, with recognizing objects. It's going to help Shaban with comprehending text. Social will help with reducing decoding strain, and then Russell, it's going to help with maintaining structure, just to prevent any sort of like behavioral trigger. So with the second one, we're looking at more of, so now scaffolding. So looking at like scaffolding questions and sentence frames. So looking at prompts, having prompts available such as I think blank because blank. So these are just going to help the students to be able to respond at their level, but help build that expressive language, as well as maintaining engagement without becoming frustrated. Um, so these are just techniques that are going to help foster independence, but while ensuring that they are making everything is being made accessible to them. Um, so then if we kind of shift to an online or a hybrid form of education, we can always adapt the UDL. So we can do that by having like recorded mini lessons, interactive polls, and then even the use of digital visual supports. So the categorization game, you can use like a drag and drop tool, such as like Padlet. Debates can be happening in breakout rooms. You can have sentence starters kind of in the chat that they can use to kind of help them out. And then using tools such as like text to speech or even like private teacher check-ins just to help support students, such as Social and Russell. When it comes to multi-age classrooms, we're going to go ahead and look at like grouping by level rather than age. That way we can help kind of scaffold activities more effectively for each level. Um, so now when it comes to technology, two of the technologies we're going to be looking at that I think would be useful are the use of digital graphic organizers and polling tools. So with digital graphic organizers, we can use things like Poplet or MindMeister. These are able to help students kind of sort visually with text, pictures, or with voice. This supports representation and flexible expression. With doing the polling tools, we can use things like Nearpod, Kahoot, or not MindMeister, sorry, Mentimeter. These allow students to vote, see the results in real time, and then help to share their reasoning. This is going to make participation a lot more engaging and more inclusive. Um, so, with all of that, I think UDL is going to give us kind of that strong foundation that we need for planning and for the activities, along with strategies and the different technologies, making sure that, all of our students are going to be able to access learning meaningfully. Um, so I just wanted to share. And I also want to say thank you. I'm really excited to be able to co-teach with you. And I'm excited to see how our students grow through the use of, the supports we just talked about. So thank you.